welcome again. Thank you for joining us for class in session. You know, we like to talk to Caribbean educators who have transitioned out of the Caribbean sphere to teaching, working in other places in the world. Today, we have first generation American, first generation American, and the dope math educator. Let me just say that it's a big deal for me to have you on, not only because of all the accolades you've gained over the years, but Caribbean girly, Trinidad. I'm just saying.
Wait,
That's
how
a
do you do
big
it?
deal. That's a that's a big deal too, okay? Because I recognize there are so many educators online, but three-quarters of them are from here.
Hmm.
And there are many immigrants here, and of course, offspring of immigrants who don't you don't see them, you don't hear
Yeah,
them, and they
yeah,
have made such an impact to education in America, and I don't think there's a conversation about them, around them, inviting them. So it's very important for me to just shed light on the fact that we have made the impact, and we are just, laying down a lot of groundwork that is not discussed. So
yeah.
thank you so much for joining me.
No, thank you. Thank you for just amplifying that idea, that notion.
Mhm.
I'm really excited to be here because my Caribbean roots is literally the reason why I'm able to do the things and accomplish the things and impact this math education space is because of those roots. So I appreciate your platform.
Thank you so much. All right, let's just get right into it, right? Do you think, looking back at your upbringing, that success looked a particular way to your family and that impacted on the way that you teach and the way that you learned?
Yeah. So I think it's important to know too that I was born in Trinidad, like my siblings, and coming to America, just knowing that journey, although I don't remember it, hearing it over and over again, with my family, it really just like shaped how they felt about the life of like what Americans receive, right? The white picket fence, and this is like the place where you get all of these dreams come true. For us, success was education. Yes, we know that an increase in like your salary or your earning potential is correlated to the level of education, but from my mom, from my dad, like it was education means success.
Mhm.
They wanted us to do better than they did and reach higher levels, and so that's all that was instilled in us. It was education, education. Did you do your homework? Did you read this book in the summertime? What book reports are you doing? Oh, your teacher didn't assign you any book reports? You're going to this library right now and you're going to
Mhm.
join the library book club. um, oh, you wrote the report, let me check it. Oh, you spelled this word wrong. My mom would do like quizzes for us for words that our teachers didn't even give. I remember when I got in trouble, I had to like write a letter to my mom about why I got in trouble, and it had to be in the
Mhm.
right paragraph format. So like everything was a learning experience and the filter was education. So, how it plays out in the way I educate my students or the teachers that I support, I have that same level of like fervor. Like, education is important. And I'm not
Mhm.
talking about just um, being textbook smart. I mean, are you literate? Are you able to look at complex things and make a decision about it? Do you have enough tools in your toolkit to do that? And the only way that happens is when you are educated.
Mhm.
So,
Absolutely.
yeah.
And one of the highlights from what you said is accountability.
Mm.
Mom was there all times, and that is a feature of I want to say every Caribbean household, because my
Hmm.
parents were the same way.
Hmm.
A previous guest, same thing. The guest before that, same thing. So it
Hmm.
must be a part of just the way that we all see education as important and the way out of a life that it didn't give us access to a lot of things.
Yeah.
So the very reason why many of us are here in the United States and seek ventures outside is because we don't have the opportunities that a lot of people here
Mm-hmm.
have.
Mm-hmm.
And because of that, we see education as the way out of
Yeah.
not having that access. And so
Mm-hmm.
when we come here, we want our children to soak in as much as they can. And that would
Yeah.
require, even without us being in this space, education has always been important. It's always been that
Mm-hmm.
filter. You want something good to happen in your life, education is exactly where you
Yeah.
need to. And so for them to be taking you to the library in the summer and checking your work and saying, "Oh, your teacher didn't assign you anything," none of that is strange to me. Do you see that in the education system that you've worked through for the last few years? Do you see that same level of accountability? And how do you allow or influence your teachers to
Mm-hmm.
require that level of accountability from your students?
So when I first started teaching, I started in 2009, and whether or not I saw the accountability, I made it my responsibility. So what that looked like was I had a separate phone line from my parents. And some of them would be annoyed with me. But I made sure that I called them the beginning of the school year and I introduced myself to them and let them know, like, this is a direct phone line that you can reach me. But also being clear that I'm holding your child to this level of excellence. And
Mhm.
it might be familiar for you or it might be new to you. But either way, this is what we're doing in my class. This is how we're
Mhm.
learning and this is my expectation, right? And so what I did see was there were some select families that were very, very, very in tuned with their children's
Mhm.
educational journey, and some of them really wanted to be but just didn't have the means to, whether they were like working all the
Mhm.
time or just there's so many things that are happening on the margins of families lives that they can't. I was fortunate. I don't even want to say fortunate. Like my life, my dad was in the home, my mom was in the home, my grandmom lived next door, my aunts lived across town, right?
Mhm.
And so there was a community aspect of it that I could say I was able to, I was a benefactor of when I was growing up.
Mhm.
Sometimes those types of units aren't available to American families just because the system set it up that way,
Yeah.
right? And so there wasn't a safety net for many of my students. So I knew I had to overcompensate in some sort of way because there was like an imbalance. Now, did I know that? Like technically no, but like as I look back and I'm seeing like, hey, well, that's why I did that. That's why I did that. So there was something there that let me know that this child needed a different level of like support. And I was just like, well, let me just do it for all of my students,
Mm.
all of my families, because you never know. Um, so yeah.
How how do you compare who you are now as an educator to who you were before? Let's say the first, second year you
hmm
walked into education. What's the difference?
I think I think I'm more empathetic now as an
Mhm.
educator. Um, because I now understand what it means to live in a politically charged society or a society that is more about upholding systems that
Mm.
aren't serving to kids and adults and humans. So like before I was very much, we're doing it like this. These are the high expectations. Yes, I would save space and room for children, but I had like a no excuses type of like, I don't, persona, right?
Okay.
And my students definitely did well, right? Because of that. But I think there could have been room for more empathy.
Mhm.
Um, So who I am now when I'm coaching adults, I'm listening more. I'm actively listening more. But I'm also holding them to the expectation that this is the context you are living in right now. And
Hmm.
I know that it is really difficult for you to kind of like get get to this goal, but understanding that it's just a context and how do we like work through it? How do we work around it? Because at the end of it, you are still serving children. Like children are still the end user of like your issues, your family, your things, right? And so if we as educators don't really realize how much we impact them on a daily basis and we don't check ourselves, then our students are the worst for it, right?
Yeah.
Or if we do check ourselves and they are receiving a full teacher, regardless of the systems that are happening, regardless of all the things that are happening, I think my empathy for teachers is a little different now.
Okay. When you when you decided to segue, why did you choose why did you choose high school in the first place? Of all the things. Because I
Yeah.
would never.
Why did I choose high
I
school?
would never. I'm just putting that out there.
So let me think. So I started teaching at 23
Okay.
and I taught sophomores, so they were 14, 15 years old. So we had like an 8, 9 year age difference. So that was extremely like nerve wracking for me, that age difference. But I'm a person that I'll go into a challenge like, oh, that's a challenge, sign me up. I got issues. I don't even know why, but this is how it goes. But so that was from just like age difference thing. But from a content perspective, I had the most fun learning high school math. I had the most fun learning high school math. And it's also the place where I had the most failures, like in college, like the more abstract mathematics. So I just felt like it was important for an an educator. Like we always hear by the time they get to high school with mathematics, like they either already love it or they already hate it. And so I'm like at the end of the line here. And so I was always interested to know, are there spaces where we could kind of reverse the thinking about how students feel about mathematics, even if it's not to say, oh my gosh, I fell in love, but to have an appreciation of it. High school was like the last place, but also how I felt in college. I kind of just really wanted to get them prepared and let them know, don't walk up in there thinking you know hot and you know everything. Like my job was to get them really really prepared to the realities of what they're going to expect post secondary.
Why math of all things? Was that what you wanted to do? Did you even like math when you were growing up?
I was really good I was good at a lot of subjects. I also knew how to do school. And it's weird. Like I knew how to do school. I knew the system of school. I
Hmm.
knew that the teacher will assign these problems on Wednesday. Like I knew my teacher's system. So I was
You
able
were
to
you were studying the schedule.
child. So I knew how to it was so bad that I remember there was this teacher in high school that thought I was I don't want to say a bad kid, but like I just wasn't into school because they would always see me in the hallway. Why would they always see me in the hallway? I'm already done my work. Like I
Hmm.
just wanted to like be done my work. So like I figured out my teacher's schedule. So why math? My algebra 2 teacher, mentor, ugh, fabulous lady, Miss Candace Stanley, she asked me to tutor a student from Panama. She was a new student and she just was struggling. Now, she was a senior, I was a junior, and she says, I need you to tutor her. And I'm looking at Miss Stanley like, tutor who? Tutor? Like, there's a language barrier and she's doing a different level of math. Like, and she just looked at me and she said, she called me Frazier. she didn't call anybody by their first name. She called everyone by their last name. So she would say, Frazier, I need you to tutor her. No, you could do it, tutor her. And I started tutoring her, and the girl she started doing really good in the class and so forth. And so that kind of just like, oh, maybe I could be a teacher, something like that. And
Hmm.
then that was like my first entry point to me realizing I can make math like chewable for someone who does not have the same background or speaks a different language. I remember her name is Gabriella, and she like wrote me a really cute letter after she graduated. And I was just so excited. I'm a junior. So that was that little moment. And then finally, when I got to college, I thought I was majoring in applied mathematics. I thought
Hmm.
I wanted to, well, not wanted to, I wanted to be like a data statistician. I wanted to work for the NBA and do some type of actual science and help them like on the marketing team and make those types of decisions. But when I first hit college, I did well in my like calc courses, right? But there were some, and but only because I've seen that level of like math before, right, in high school. But then I got introduced to some new courses, and I started failing my math classes, and I lost all of my scholarships. I had to kind of reset. I remember my mom my mom thought that she could come to college and get my report card. You know how you would do like teacher parent day? So one day my mom is up at my school, Seton Hall University, and she's trying to look for like the principal's office
We have
so
to shut
that,
up, mommy. Let's just shout your
listen,
mom out right now.
and like my mom was doing them, like, let me tell you something. And then when she found out that she couldn't gain access to my transcripts, not my report
Hmm.
card, she was so sad because she didn't know that that was a thing that it's only released to me, right?
Quite an
And so
adjustment.
it was quite an adjustment for her. And I think that goes back to your first question, like the education. She wasn't playing. So I
Hmm.
would, one time I said, nah, nah, no boo boo, you can't get my transcript. But I would still show it to her. You know what I mean? I didn't show her when I failed. But because I failed those courses, I remember one of the professors would always be like, well, how come you don't know this? Or you didn't learn this? Like it was very, so when I transferred schools, I redeclared my major to math education.
Okay.
So it definitely came from a point of like defeat, a point of failure. Like my students aren't going to feel this. They're not going to say someone didn't show them or tell them that this is what college looks like in a math class. I was the only black girl. The only Yeah, I was the only black girl in my math courses at Seton Hall University. And so that's why I chose education and math.
Hmm.
I know that was
So,
long winded, but
no, no, no. I love the long wins. Don't worry. Right. I need that because as much as I do have my questions here, this is why I love talking to people. Sometimes when you get into the story, the questions just become automatically different, right?
mm,
Because I don't ever want to just jump over so much of what you've just shared. The defeat, the feeling that you had when you failed, the desire to not have your students feel the same way. Um, an educator seeing your potential, believing in you so much
hmm
that saying to you, hey, tutor somebody who
hmm
is older than you, doing something a little bit more complicated than you, that must
yeah,
have done something to your self esteem. There's just so much to take away from
yeah,
your story. You said that a lot of students, you don't want them to come with the idea that they have it all figured out,
hmm
that they know the stuff and they don't
hmm
need to. What are some of the gaps that you continued to see when you were teaching, and
yeah.
how do you help to fill those gaps now?
So, like a true Caribbean, I had tons of jobs simultaneously.
Hmm.
Okay. Simultaneously. So, while I was teaching high school math, my first 2 years, 2 years later, I became an adjunct professor at Rutgers University.
Okay.
So in the evenings, I'm teaching 2, 3 courses per semester. And in the day, I'm teaching high school math. So I was very fortunate enough to understand the pipeline between secondary school and post secondary school. But now my lens is a little more widened because they're just not my students in my college courses. They are everyone else's students from all over the state of New Jersey or even outside of New Jersey. And I'm realizing that this ain't a black thing. This isn't a socio-economic status thing. Like, yes, I'm sure there's studies that show, you know what I mean, what happens in different economic statuses and races when it comes to math and learning math, right? But I had white kids, Asian kids, black students, Hispanic students in my college algebra courses and my pre-calculus courses, and there are gaps of just regular middle school mathematics. They had not mastered mathematics that I call the math that you need to be able to make it in life, right? Just the basic skills, the foundational skills, being able to just work with fractions, not because you have to, but because the majority of things in this world revolves around fractions. If we talk
I
about
want you to say that
time,
again
mhm,
because
the
there are
major,
a million people on this earth who ask the same question. After I leave this class, what am I going to do with that? They don't think that math,
yeah,
reading, half of those things that they learn have anything to do with what happens in the outside world. So I need
right.
you to emphasize that part.
I mean, we do use this mathematics on an everyday basis. I mean, there's so many people in entrepreneurship right now that, excuse me, literally have to use mathematics to just understand growth, understand their metrics, understand their data to help themselves make decisions. You are literally projecting things and looking backwards when it comes to time, right? And just understanding like fractions and time have so many different just overlaps. Like I so growing up, I used to hate when my parents used to say that. They'd be like, Umi, what time it is? And she would say quarter past. And I'm like, what are we doing here? Quarter past what? Like, one, why aren't we saying the hour that it
Mhm.
is quarter past? Because there's an expectation that we already know what the hour
Yep.
is. And then they're always using half past, quarter past, right? Quarter to. Literally, that is how we look at fractions in a pi circle. But we don't even teach students that concept, quarter to, right? And how that relates to real, like, benchmark fractions and so forth. Like it's not gelling. So the gaps that I saw were gaps that again are mathematics that are needed to be functional in society, mathematics that are needed to be functional in society for us to be confident in it. I hate when people say, I don't know nothing about that math. I don't know nothing about that. And while I understand I can hold that maybe you had difficult experiences in math, or you may not have had math teachers consecutively that really spoke to you and showed you how to really look at these things, but that is no excuse for you
Hmm.
not being literate in mathematics because you
I
got to
want to
use
take
it.
that part because I'm one of those people who my history with math is not very pleasant.
Mhm.
I'm from a household of very smart people. My brother is super smart. My sister is super how I see them.
Mhm.
They're super smart. When it came to me, I was like, okay, what is going on with me? Because when I went to school, language and ELA and all of that, that was fine.
Mhm.
But math, no thank you. And the teachers that I had found it more important to put their time and energy into the
Mm.
students who understood
Mm.
versus the ones who were struggling.
Yeah.
So the one that was afraid to raise her hand,
Mhm.
that was me. I would probably be singled out, and it was obvious that I couldn't do it, but I would be
Mhm.
singled out for not being able to do it and then being
Mm.
punished for not being able to do it.
Mhm. Mhm.
those
I'm sorry that
experiences
that happened to you.
made it very difficult for me to want to like math
Mm-hmm.
because it was already hard for me. Then you put me in a situation where you don't want to teach me, then you embarrass me,
Mm-hmm.
then I'm not going to have a good relationship with the subject.
Mm-hmm.
And that traveled with me. Those
Right.
kinds of educators seem to travel with me throughout my lifetime.
Mm.
My love for math came with having to teach math. I never liked math at all. If you gave me at the start of my teaching journey an option,
Mm-hmm.
if I wanted to teach math, I would have told you an automatic no. But being placed in an Abeka school, which was the first place I had to really teach math,
Okay.
I learned a lot from the way that it is taught. And
Mm.
it made me develop a like for it.
Okay.
And then eventually, because I was now understanding it.
Yeah.
And it was so strange to me because the only time I understood is when I had to teach it. You know what I mean? So I developed a like for it.
Mm-hmm.
And then eventually, over time, a love for it.
Oh.
And the love transitioned from Abeka to Common Core, which everybody seems to hate except me. because because it arms me, and I've seen it arm my
Mm-hmm.
students with
Mm-hmm.
so many different ways of understanding
Understanding the problem.
concepts
Yeah.
that I see more aha moments than
Mm-hmm.
tears. And I think
Mm.
that's just important for me as an educator to highlight and to keep doing. But with them, I understand. It's no excuse, but I understand the apprehension
Yeah.
and the aversion to even wanting to do math. And you didn't understand it in elementary, you didn't understand it in high school. Now you're
Right.
forced to understand it in college. What you gonna
Right.
do?
Right. And I think, and I appreciate you for sharing that because
Yeah.
your story is similar to so many educator stories, right? One, I'm glad that you, whatever fear or dislike you had, you did what you had to do to overcome it, meaning you learned how to teach it, right? Because you knew your students needed that from you. I think there was a fork in the road and you had to decide about greatness, point blank, period, or allowing that fear or that dislike to continue down your path. And you went that way and said, "No, I'm going to master this because I signed up to be a teacher." There was nobody forcing you to
Yeah.
say, I be a teacher. Like there may have been like some type of stipend or some
Oh,
type
my
of like,
mama,
hey,
my
if
mama signed me up. I didn't even know
oh
that
my
was
bad.
not what I wanted to be. My mama said, "You go into teacher's college because you've been teaching at
Yes.
church, and I was teaching for a while, but just never officially." And she's just like, "You
Mm-hmm.
go into teacher's college." So
Mm.
that's where I ended up, and that's where
I love this for us.
the
I did
journey.
not know
I'm
we were
telling you
both at
about our
Teachers
parents. Our
College.
parents, our parents are something else,
And they will
especially
do
our
that
mama.
for us. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. But
So
you made a decision and you said,
yeah,
I gotta do this, I gotta get better at it, right? And then you're gonna always evolve. And I think that's the difference between a growth mindset and a fixed mindset. That's the
mhm.
difference between you believing in yourself and believing in your students' capabilities versus, yeah, I don't do this math. So there's different types of educators out here.
Yeah. And you now train teachers.
Hmm.
And
Yeah.
I want to ask, what's the worst you've heard from educators? And how do you transition them from that mindset to becoming educators that make an impact,
Hmm.
especially
So
in math?
there's always like extremes, right? Like really, really amazing teachers, really, really educators that need to find a new profession.
Yeah.
But then there's the quiet kind of middle. And sometimes the quiet middle is the worst that I've had.
Mhm.
And what do I mean by that? There are educators that um, can hide behind things and they find a way to just like coast.
Mm.
They have the classroom experience, they have the skill set, right? They have the thing, but they kind of just coast. And so for me, I think that's kind of like the worst that I've experienced, because that coasting doesn't allow them to grow and doesn't allow them to challenge their students differently, doesn't allow them to challenge themselves differently. I remember coaching a teacher, and I'm trying to get her to accept the idea that maybe we need to do a different type of math task than the one she planned. And so I be making executive decisions like, no, we're doing this one. Because although I'm trying to explain to you why yours may not meet the mark of the standard or the rigor of the standard, you're more like, I just don't want to do it because I don't think my students are going to get it. I don't want to do it because I think it's going to cause more confusion for my students than aha moments. I don't want to do, and these are like literal things that she wrote in an email to me. I don't want to do it. I think we should try this simpler problem and then attach the simpler problem. And so I'm sitting here and I'm realizing, like, wow, there's so much fear in this email.
There
There's
is
so
fear.
much, yeah, and it's more fear because I think that she didn't know how to do it. But part of my role is like we work through it together. We do the problem first together before we even present it to students. And so the ego of it was that she did not want to look like she didn't know how to do it in front of
Mhm.
me.
Mhm.
Um, and so when that hits, our students don't receive care with math instruction, they receive your ego.
That's learned behavior, though.
Yep.
There's a reason why she was afraid to do that with you.
Yeah. Could be. It could be. But I mean, all of the other teachers,
Hmm.
they did the problem, right? So there could have been many different reasons. But one of the things that I do when I start off is I build relationships and trust and all those different things. And so, um, yeah.
You mentioned coasting. What break down what coasting is for me?
Co- Coasting is I can give you examples of coasting.
Okay.
Okay. You're in a PLC meeting or a department meeting, and the goal is to work on a certain problem together as a cohort or as a team, right? But instead, you find a reason to challenge the goal of it, so that you don't necessarily have to do it. Um, Coasting is, you know, that this is time for for us to look at the curriculum, and maybe we need to resequence things as a team, but because it's always been done this way, we're just going to keep it the normal way and not investigate the scope and sequence of this unit, although I you taught it for 4 years and the data shows that this ain't working for students.
Hmm. Hmm.
Coasting for me also looks like finding an excuse for why, I don't know, like why the student said something to you
Hmm.
instead of you realizing that you provoked said student. Like there's
Hmm.
so many different ways of coasting, but it's kind of like people looking for excuses to not do the thing that they know they needed to do to show up differently for themselves as well as for students.
Math is it's something that brings a lot of anxiety.
Hmm.
Spoken from experience. And I'm sure it's the experience of a lot of educators,
Me
right?
too. Yeah.
Gotta teach it. We're uncomfortable with it. Kids are already uncomfortable with it. Um, but in your experience, what is the missing piece in how math is traditionally taught, and how do you approach making it engaging and accessible?
Um, I think when it comes to like anxiety around mathematics, I think that's a real thing, clearly. because I know I've had it, especially in those math
Telling
classes,
you.
right?
Telling you.
I still get it now, depending on how I'm presented with a problem. Like if someone just run up to me, hey, solve this real quick, because they're trying to test my genius versus like they
Mhm.
actually want to know, right? Like those instances give me anxiety. But what I think is missing is educators willing to just say, like, okay, there's this thing that I don't like, but I'm willing to become a subject matter expert. I'm willing to see like how I can continue to be curious about the craft, right? There's a curiosity of it that's missing. The curiosity to become better, the curiosity to say, yeah, I know I'm not teaching this thing right, or yeah, my students aren't receiving it the way I need them to receive it. Let's see how I can do this differently. I think we've lost the ability to be curious. I think that there's always generations of experienced teachers that will give novice teachers support, right? That would give novice teachers like, hey, this is how we should do it. And that still happens to this day. However, it seems as though the generation of teachers that are just entering the teaching field, they're not getting the type of like like this is real teaching. This is
Why do you
like the
think that?
mentorship of it all, like the grit of it all. Yeah, this is that profession, and so like we're in an influencer led type of industry now. Everyone is, not just in education. Yeah, and
Mhm.
so the complaint about students are 2 to 3 grade levels behind. Um, they've always been. That's not a new phenomenon. So I think what's missing from education right now, math education, is us understanding that things repeat themselves. Like this is the same cycle. This
Mhm.
is the same cycle, just with a different set of kids that are digital natives. Yeah. So how are we meeting them where they are? What are we doing to increase our subject matter expertise, but also our pedagogical lens, and meet these kids with, they're still kids.
Yeah.
They still have brains. They still want systems. They still want expectations. They still want these things. We just got to actually do it for them in the way that they receive it. So,
How would you suggest someone become a subject matter expert?
yeah. So, one, well, I have this thing that I have people do when they take an assessment, because for me there's a subject matter expert continuum. There's a continuum of like, hey, I'm like entry level versus I'm like experienced. Yeah. And so,
Mhm.
like, taking a self assessment against like what you know about standards, taking the assessment and trying to score yourself based off what you know about how do you plan a lesson, right? How do you define the aspects of rigor in a math lesson? If the standard is saying, uh, build students' concepts, and we're not placing manipulatives in their hands or other visual aids or other entry points to solve a problem or to explore the problem, if the lesson isn't a discovery lesson, then we're not subject matter experts of our craft. You don't have to know all the mathematics to know the types of instructional strategies and the type of mathematic tools that students will need for them to be successful, for them to feel safe, right?
Mhm.
So I think developing subject matter expertise is, how do we zoom out and stop thinking of like, hey, this classroom, this lesson, and think more about the minutia of it, the standard. Am I really giving the students what the standard is asking for? And what am I using to analyze these things to rebuild
I'm putting my hand up like I would in a
it?
classroom. Right. Do you think though that some
Hmm.
of these standards, right? Because the standards are different depending
Hmm.
on state, depending on school, depending on the district, depending on a whole lot of things. Do you think that some of these standards are clear? Do you
Hmm.
think that teachers are understanding the
Hmm.
depth of the
Hmm.
standards in the first place? Are they getting any training in
Hmm.
order to understand those standards? Because from my perspective, you are out of, you know, graduate school.
Mhm.
You do what you need to do for graduate
Mhm.
school, but then
Mhm.
bam, you're in a classroom.
Yeah.
You're handed a curriculum. This standard is
Mhm.
different from the standard that you were taught with. You have nothing to do with the standards that are in front of you.
Mhm.
You are hired, and the person who may have hired you may not even understand the standards themselves.
Mhm. Mhm.
But
Mhm.
you
Mhm.
are given this thing to now go teach. How are you going to be able to do that when you're not familiar with them and
Right.
probably nobody's teaching you about them in the first place?
Absolutely. So teacher prep programs don't teach, like, they'll show you curriculum, but they don't show you how to understand curriculum. Also, all curriculum isn't designed equally.
Hmm.
Standards are different, right? But I've played with enough standards nationwide to know that although we're saying standards are different, they're not. It might sound different, right? It might have a
Hmm.
different coding or different, right? But at the end of the day, solving one step equations, your standard isn't going to get that much
Hmm.
more abstract. Yeah. So there are very commonalities around it. Now, how do teachers get to that point on the other end where they're really analyzing standards if no professional development is provided? That's literally why I've created all of this noise around a curriculum writing intensive, all this noise around subject matter expertise, because I know that there is a gap between a classroom teacher picking up the curriculum assets that their district handed them and then them making sense of it and them realizing, like, hey, I need to use this asset, I should use this, I should use this, this is not what the standard says, and them even challenging the curriculum designer, right? You don't know that until you start diving into standards more and you
Hmm.
get a taste of it and start getting used to it. Unpacking the standards is what we do. We unpack standards before we put them in front of students. And that does take, in my opinion, work before students see you.
Yep.
That's a summer thing, right? And if you don't have that in your district, it's up to you to go seek that out, your own professional learning. Like, I had to seek out my own professional learning because I know I wasn't getting what I needed to get from my
Hmm.
instructional
Hmm.
coach.
Hmm.
And that's the fortunate but unfortunate part of it.
Oh my goodness, that's
Yeah.
just something that I think is important to say, because and even watching teachers transition. I teach first grade this year. All of a sudden, you're told you're gonna teach third
Fourth,
grade next year. You're
right.
gonna teach fifth.
Yeah.
Wait a minute. Hold on a
Mhm.
minute. What?
Mhm.
It's just there are so many little things
Yeah.
that are not taken into consideration
Yep.
when an educator is placed into a room of different personalities, different learning
Mhm.
styles, different home backgrounds,
Age.
different cultures. There are so many factors that are not taken into consideration. And it makes me wonder if it is a setup for failure
Mhm.
sometimes.
Mhm.
And of course, if we are set up for failure, then what does it mean for the students that are in front of us?
Yeah.
You
I
know?
mean, I so like I said, I think that regardless of the situation and context that we're
Hmm.
in, there's always little breadcrumbs and nuggets
Hmm.
that can get us to the point of what our goal is, even if the goal is incremental.
Yeah.
Um, it doesn't always just have to be around mathematics. I mean, my first year teaching, I had 33 students in my class. 33 15-year-olds, 14-year-olds. I'm get out of my class. All right, you ready to come back in? Right? Like, there's so much happening, and you have to make
Hmm.
hundreds of decisions like this. You got to have eyes on your back, and then you still have
Absolute
to teach the
decision
math.
fatigue.
Yes, it's a lot. Yeah, it is a lot. But after year two, and then year three, and then year four, if that is still an issue for you, right? If you haven't figured out your system, because
Hmm.
teaching is a skill, it is a system, it is something to figure out. What are you expecting your students to do as soon as they hit the door? Oh, before they even hit the door, because my students knew, don't come in, don't walk across my threshold
Mm-hmm.
unless certain things were in their hand. Like, what are you setting up? What are those expectations of your classroom to get the moments, the minutes that you need to actually dive into the lesson? Like year 7, I I ain't talking to you about classroom management. Year
Completely
7,
understand.
don't tell me it's the kids, like they kids.
Yeah.
Don't I'm
Yeah.
not talking to you about that.
Yeah. Yeah. Um, let's segue to something that you said earlier. You said that you were the only African American student in your class for a while.
Yep.
STEM fields, STEM and math, and we're not even going to talk about the fact that they keep highlighting that brown, black, colored, however they want to term it, are the students who are failing math. That's the branding. It's
Mm-hmm.
just us. Everybody else is doing fine, right? STEM fields and math often seem to lack diverse voices, which is why you were alone, right? When you first entered that field, what did you notice about representation and how did that impact your mission?
I noticed that I was less talkative in class. I felt less confident. And I think it was only because like I didn't have anyone that I like recognized in the classroom to even build community. Um, yeah, all of my math courses, I remember their faces. I had one Latina student. I remember she was from Brooklyn. And she was there on scholarship. And she would only talk to me when she wanted to check homework the day before, like to review homework problems. But like we're in class and we're not discussing like we weren't like friends outside of class. And so it would she would always call me for, but outside of that, I was the only black student um in all my math classes at Seton Hall University. I I do not ex student. So that was hard. I think that probably led to like even why I failed some of my courses because I was just like, man, this ain't for me. I don't see my people here. I
Mm-hmm.
don't want to be the only. I don't think that's a badge of honor. I don't
Yeah.
want to be the only. Like that's cute for some people, but for me, I'm into community. I am into can we do this together? So even building my business, it's lonely. I don't want to be the only. Like I reach out to my girlfriend, like, can we do something together? Can we build together? Like I don't want to be the only because I think with numbers you impact differently. You
Mm-hmm.
have a diverse perspective. You're able to do things a little differently. You learn better. You grow. So I don't think I answered your question. I don't know where I went. I don't even know what question you asked
I
me,
was
but
asking. Okay, let me tell you what I was asking. I
sorry.
was asking, that's okay. How do you think all of those feelings that you had are valid? Because I don't know. I don't even like being in a room of people that look like me. I would prefer to sit at the back and don't see me, right?
Mm,
Um, but how did that feeling, that need for community, how do you think that drives your purpose? How does it drive you
yeah.
now? And the business that you've set up,
Hmm.
the mission that you have, how did that experience drive you as an educator to create what you have created?
Yeah, I mean, when I became a math supervisor, because after 4 years of teaching, then I became like a data coordinator, then a math supervisor. I was always trying to create community and experiences with my teachers. So, like having like a big math event where I get all the math teachers to be involved. It was actually the most attended math event in the history of my school district. Like those things drive me because I think like numbers impact feeling. Like even now I'm creating more community led events under my business, mixers and kickbacks and things like that because we know there are spaces that are needed for us to vent. There are spaces that we need for us to just like talk about hey, without feeling compliance heavy, without feeling like we need to talk about education in this vacuum. Like we could actually say it out loud and not be evaluative, like today was not a good day.
Mm-hmm.
Or I hate teaching this topic. Okay, but show me how you like it's a safer space, I think, to
Mm-hmm.
learn and grow and to make mistakes and to fail and to be honest, but also to get the spark that you need. I think community allows that.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Community spaces, yeah.
Absolutely, absolutely. What was the hardest part of shifting your mindset from classroom teacher to now business owner and brand strategist? Was there a hard part?
Child. Yes. I'm cracking up right now because I was just on the phone with my mom, like, I was just staring at her. I didn't even know what to say because half the time my brain is like everywhere. But
Yeah.
anyway, what was the hardest transition? I think the hardest transition was realizing that I am literally responsible for my own time. I'm responsible
Mm-hmm.
for my team. I'm responsible. Like, there's no one above me that I could ask permission.
Mm-hmm.
Like they're all looking to me. Like I had teachers looking to me for support and advice, like as a supervisor. Like, yeah, I made those decisions, but ultimately I had a boss who had a boss. So there was already a system set up. The hardest part was creating my company structure and the systems, the reporting systems, so I don't get burnt out. That's not a math lane. Yeah, that's an organizational leadership lane that I had to figure out.
Mm-hmm.
Becoming a math supervisor, there was already something in place. There was, hey, this is what happens during the summer. This is how you do evaluations. This is, right? There was a training guide. Creating a company, there's no training guide. You're
Mm-hmm.
literally building the system from ground up, and you are
Mm-hmm.
making decisions on the fly. And some of those systems that you built probably need to, like, will diminish or not work until you keep getting it right. And so all those things, they cost time, they cost energy, they cost money, right? They cost a lot. So the hardest was recognizing that if your systems aren't in place first, then your business will not be able to be sustainable, and you can't impact the field the way you want it to impact. You can't support teachers the way you want it to support them. So, yeah.
There are lots of us, including myself, who I don't say I want to pivot because I don't see myself. I love being in the classroom. Let me
Yeah.
just say that. There's a thing about being in the room with the kids,
Mhm.
watching them grow from point A to point
Yeah.
B, or point A to point A.5, A.5. You know what I mean? There's
Yes.
something about watching that progression for me. So even though I want to pivot, it's not going to be not going to do a full
Okay.
180. I'm going to
Yeah.
do something, right? But what, for those educators who want to
Mhm.
pivot and they want to start a business, but they kind of feel stuck,
Mhm.
thinking they only know how to teach, how do you help educators audit their skills and realize that what they do in the classroom is actually highly transferable to the business world?
Mhm. One, I would one tell them to tap into the Erica Jordan Thomas community,
Okay.
EJT. So that's the one thing. She actually just wrote a book. It was published yesterday, and I received my copy. I wish I had it in front of me. So
I,
that's
I,
one.
I saw that she has a PD or something.
Yes,
She has something.
yes.
Yeah.
She does like a free business school, like and stuff like that. So I think that would be like a great just entry point just to see like what's possible. Even
Mhm.
if they don't know what they want to do, they could see what's possible and have options. But two, like you said, skills are transferable. A lot of educators just think like they're teachers, but like you said, they are data diggers. They are um, decision makers. They are like collaboration specialists, right? they have so many skills. And so if they start marketing themselves as their skill set rather than them just saying they're teachers, I think that would be one type of way to start. I'm a LinkedIn person. Like, just change up your profile. Even if you don't know what you want to do or where you want to go, what is your most like glorified skill that you think that you have, that you can do it with your eyes closed while you're asleep? Like, what is that thing?
I love that. I
Because
love that.
yeah.
Market yourself as your skill.
As your skill. Like, my skill is I help educators find their math light. Like, that's my skill. I help them find their light when it comes to mathematics. I help them illuminate. I help them see that they can actually do these math problems, especially school leaders who usually don't think that they can. Like, that's
Hmm.
my skill. And now I feel like my impact is transitioning to more the belief skill set. Like, I know that I help people believe in themselves, whether it's math or anything else. And so that's my skill set. That's my superpower. And if you live in that superpower, anything that you do, any industry that you want to go in, like, you can fit it there. But if you're just tied to this, I'm a teacher, then that's all you're going to ever identify as, and you won't
Hmm.
think that you can transfer those things.
Okay. What advice do you have for someone battling like the guilt or the fear of walking away from a steady paycheck and trying to build something, you know, that has their own legacy in mind?
um, I think the fear is understandable because we were conditioned from birth to get a steady job. So, yeah, you're going to be fearful of letting go of those things. I would say before you let go, though, it's important that you understand the game plan. It's important for me. So, I think that you have to understand marketing and sales, in my opinion. I don't just mean from a business aspect, but like how you market yourself, because that's how you are going to replace your income, or at least get as close to it as you can. So I don't think you should release your steady role until you put some reps in the gym, until you
Hmm.
feel confident. Like, I agree, like, oh, I risk it all, and but like, what work did you do beforehand before that big risk?
Hmm.
My risk anniversary was June 4th, meaning even though I started my company 9 years ago, I was just doing like summer stuff. It wasn't until 2022 that I become fully integrated in my company where I don't work for anyone else. So that took me about 5 years to say, let me walk away from a steady job.
Hmm.
You, you can't, if especially if you have children, right? So I don't think there's any guilt. I do think that if you want to go into entrepreneurship or you want to do something different, I'm not saying have a cushion. I'm just saying have a process. Have
Yeah.
like, can you generate revenue in a certain process that you know it's going to come? Set that system up before you walk away.
Awesome. Awesome. Since you're the dope math educator, I'm going to ask just before we go into the rapid fire questions because we're
Okay.
almost done.
Okay.
If you were to come up with an equation for for I don't want to say success, but let's go there. To build a successful business, what is that equation? And I want you to give me in the math term. So I need the equal sign
Yikes.
at the end.
Okay. Whew. Okay. I would say there's so much. So
Pick the
much.
most
So
important
much.
pieces.
Okay. A successful business comes, no, you're asking me an equation. I'm about to give you a whole paragraph.
You can
I
give me the
think
paragraph, but you still got to give me the
the
equation after.
plus, right? I definitely think there has to be a faith walk. So whoever you pray to, whoever you believe in, um, they have to guide your steps. So your faith plus your consistency
Hmm. That's a
plus
big
your
one.
systems. I think those three things, I'm not even saying motivation, right? But your faith, plus your consistency, plus your systems, and plus your purpose
Mm-hmm.
will give you a successful business. But also, I just think because for me, business equals freedom. That's how I look at my
Yes.
business. It affords me freedom, and I don't want people to be close minded when I say freedom. When I say freedom, I mean like freedom of decisions, freedom of time, freedom of just choice, right? So for that's what the business did for me. That's what I feel is successful. And sometimes all of those things may not happen at once. Like your faith walk may not happen first, right? You
Mm-hmm.
being very like passionate about it may come first. Like you might already know that this is your purpose.
Yeah.
Yeah, but you might have to go to the faith walk for your purpose to get reinvigorated, or like, so it's non-linear, but you have to be consistent with the things that you do. You have to be consistent. What is your Monday routine? What is your Tuesday routine? When is your break routines? I don't meet on Fridays.
Mm-hmm.
And I take clarity breaks every 3 months, even if the business is on fire. Because if I'm not good, my
Mm-hmm.
team isn't good. My business isn't good. And I had to learn that the hard way. So I would say that those equal success for me, or rather freedom.
Awesome. Awesome. Thank you. That is definitely something to consider. Consistency. That's a big one, I think. Of all,
Mm-hmm.
not to say that your faith walk is not important, but
Mm-hmm.
consistency. That's my
Yeah.
struggle. Consistency. I want to add, I don't have a successful business yet, right?
Yes. Yes.
I'm
Well,
headed
this seems
there.
successful to me right now,
Power
this
of
conversation.
power of yet. Um,
Yes.
but I think one important thing that everybody needs to do is to be honest
Mm-hmm.
about where you are
Mm-hmm.
in order to even before you even think about where you want to be. Because if you're not honest about where you are, you can dream, you can hope,
Mm-hmm.
but if you can't look yourself in the mirror and say, hey, I'm not doing this, I'm not doing that, I need to get the ball rolling with this. This is a
Yeah.
habit that I need to break and
Mm-hmm.
actively
Oof.
work on those things, then there's no way you're going to reach that end goal.
Yeah. Yeah. Well,
All
you might
right.
reach it, but it's taking slower than it should,
Mhm. There
you
you go.
know, or you
There
go
you
in a
go.
different path. So
There
yeah.
you go. There you
And
go.
and and let's be clear, consistency even in itself is nonlinear, right? So I
Mhm.
was consistent for the first like 5, 6 years of my business. And then lately my consistency I thought stopped, but it changed.
Oh, okay.
And it changed because I was able to build certain systems. But for a while, I used to say to myself, why am I not consistent? Why am I not consistent? And I'm realizing I am consistent, just not in the things I used to be consistent in because I no longer have to show
You don't
up
have
that
to.
big there.
Mhm.
Yeah, and I didn't know how to sit with that. I didn't know how to sit with that level of freedom. I didn't know what it was. I thought I was being lazy, but I was literally standing in the space that I thought of and dreamt about for so long. And then when I realized I was there, I was like, oh snap, this is what not having to make the next decision for my team feels like. I don't have anything to
Mhm.
do. Oh my God, I'm not, you know what I mean? Like, so there's going to be parts of it that you don't know what to do with yourself, and you have to build a different consistency routine. The gym.
You possess such a wealth of knowledge and just
Thank
so
you.
relatable at the end of the day with all of it. Thank you for sharing that with us. We're gonna just switch to the rapid fire. I have about one, two,
Rapid
three, four,
fire.
five.
All
I
right.
intentionally did not put them in the questions that I sent out to you. So
All
um,
right. Let's go. Let's go.
answer as fast as you want to. If you want to talk about it, fine. Okay, so the first one is Trini Carnival, or you want a quiet day on the beach in Tobago.
Tobago.
I was not expecting that, but okay.
Because I did Trinity Carnival. I ain't do it, but I did it enough. Right now, today, Tobago.
Okay.
If you ask me, On June 30th, I might say Trinity Carnival. I don't know. So it'll fluctuate. You
It's
understand?
just right now in
It's
this
just right
moment.
now in
What
this
you need.
moment. There's a lot happening. Give me Tobago. But I go
All
wind up
right.
my waist in Trinidad. So don't worry. Don't worry.
All right. So are you a doubles or a bacon shark girl?
Doubles. You don't even have to ask or doubles. I's
Why
a
not bacon
doubles
shark? What's wrong
girl.
with bacon shark?
Nothing. But I will eat doubles morning, noon, and night. I will eat it cold. I will eat it hot. But I would only eat it in Trinidad.
Okay, I'll take that. There's a Trini restaurant not too far from me. I think I've only had that one time, and I just always go back to roti. I don't know what it is.
You see, the doubles I eat here in the US, I, I don't know. Because I don't think we get the right ingredients to make it or the right cooking
Might
utensils
be
to make
that.
it the right way. Because it don't taste sweet. It doesn't taste
It's
the dough up
it's.
here tick tick tick
I
tick tick.
think it's the
It's the
ingredients.
ingredients.
Because when you are in Trinidad, most things I would believe are pulled from the earth.
Mm-hmm.
Farmer
Mm-hmm.
down the road is the one who,
Mm-hmm.
so everything is fresh and
Fresh.
real organic. I feel like that
That's
may
what it is.
be
That's
the
what it is.
formula. Yep,
Yeah.
that's the hidden
I just
part.
bring doubles back when I go to Trinidad. I just bring about a good 6 doubles back, and it will last me
But
for
it
a
makes
week.
sense.
Mm.
There you go. It makes sense. Why not? All right, paper planner and pencil or a digital planner?
I'm moving back to paper and pencil.
Why?
My creatives, I realize I'm creative, and I didn't give myself credit for that. And I'm realizing I'm less creative when notifications are like boiling down in my face.
Distractions.
I turned off all of my email notifications, all my Slack. My team can't get me on Slack. Sometimes they can't get me on email. And my life has been a lot. Now, maybe for them it's more challenging, but for me, I am leading differently. So, paper and pencil, it still creates that muscle memory, right? The creative space. It allows me to dream differently. So, I bought my plan. I can't wait. I cannot wait. But that's when I first started my business. That's what I had, a passion planner. And
Mm-hmm.
so I'm like, I'm passionate about some new things now. I'm going to go back to that space. June 30th. Can't wait to the school season. Just
All right. Question 4. We have one more after this.
okay.
Writing the perfect math curriculum or pitching a new business proposal.
Math curriculum. I like that I get to be introverted writing curriculum. Like I could be in all right, here's the scene. Tobago, eating doubles,
You don't have to say no
laptop,
more. It's finished right
and
there.
writing a curriculum and nobody bother me and
You
I'm
can stop right
drinking.
there.
Okay. That's what I like.
That's enough.
That's freedom for me. I like writing curriculum and I like doing it without having to like
Yeah.
figure like talk to people.
Engage with anybody else.
Yes. No.
All
Mm-hmm.
right. Early morning hustle or late night creative zone.
Early morning hustle. Put me in the gym at 5 in the morning. My brain, my endorphins, everything's working. I'm like, oh, let's do it. By 2, this is late for me. By 2 p.m., I like this.
You finish.
I finish. And but that wasn't when I first started my business. I literally had to rehack my schedule because I was realizing that my health was suffering because I was
Mhm.
the late night creative space. Yeah.
I
So I
am.
wouldn't wake up and all that. I for like 3 months I rehacked my schedule and I said, go to bed, wind down, wake up. Like
I'm going
and
to
I was
listen to
able
you.
to
Starting today, I'm going to listen to you
hack your
because
schedule.
my struggle is
Mm-hmm.
I have kids. So
Mm,
even sitting in this interview, I have to lock them out.
got it.
And in order to work, even though I do work throughout
Mm-hmm.
the day, in order to work unbothered, they got to be asleep.
They got to be
And so
asleep.
my time to do all the heavy lifting when it comes to work and thinking is
Mm-hmm.
always late night. Now, bear in mind
How old
that
are they?
excuse, I got a 9-year old, I got a 12-year old, and a 4-year old.
Oh.
4-year old just lost her two bottom teeth today, right? So they are very demanding. Not the 12-year old so much. She's in a zone
Mm-hmm.
where she don't want to be bothered by nobody.
Mm-hmm.
She getting there. Others, especially the 4-year old, is on me and wants my attention. So
Mm-hmm.
that late night. when everything shuts
Shuts
down,
down, you
then
get it.
I can be creative. But I
Yeah.
also know that's how I've always been. So that might just be an excuse.
Mm. I'm curious, right? If there's a way that with you hacking your schedule, your communication to your children is that like, hey, mommy's hacking her schedule. I want to try something for the next 3 months, and like wondering how they could even support you in that goal. Cause like if they're involved in it, they might
Yeah,
see it as like a challenge for them too. And you kill two birds with one stone. I don't have
I'm
children,
gonna
so
try it. I'm gonna try it.
yeah.
I'm
But
gonna
I
try it
am a
because I think
9:30
that's
p.m.
flexible.
bed. 9:30 p.m. bed. I don't care what's happening. And then I'm waking up. I'm up at like 4:30. I'm praying. The world is quiet. The world is quiet. Your kids, they quiet too. They still sleep. Right.
Hmm.
And then you kind of just still get those moments, but also you get your morning coffee and you get the things done in the morning and it's off of your brain.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's
it
different.
sounds very appealing to me, so I'm gonna try it.
I'm not even
I'm
to
gonna give
bed.
myself a week
You
and
probably gonna
see
need
if
a
I could
month.
do that. Now, I want to test it for just a week and say, hey,
Okay, like go hard. Okay,
like a
okay.
test period, just try it for a week and see if I
Yeah.
can commit. Because you said 9:30, girl, 2 o'clock in the morning. I'm
Mm,
still,
mm,
I'm gonna be up. That's me,
mm.
and I've always had that struggle. But yeah, I'm gonna put your system into practice.
Okay.
I'm gonna try it for a
I
week.
can't wait. I can't wait.
All right. Thank you so much, Jalila. It
Oh,
was an
thank
absolute
you.
pleasure to talk to you.
Thank
I
you.
cannot tell you how grateful I am for you taking your time just to come chit chat with me, and don't be a stranger.
I won't. I really appreciate you. I really do. You feel like a homegirl. This felt like a real down to earth combo, non performative. Like, we just getting to know each
I
other
don't
and our
like performances.
experiences. Me either. That's why I ain't do well in school systems. Like, oh, y'all performing again? Oh, all right, I'm out.
No, thank you. Miss me with it. Miss me completely.
Right.
All
But
right,
yes,
Jalila.
we'll stay in touch. Tell your kitties I said hi.
I will. Thank you so much and take care.
Bye.
Bye.